Well, hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, host of our shooting show, and we certainly want to welcome you to today's program. Yeah, it's cold and rainy, and at least it's not freezing, but this great Western coat that Olsen Brothers sent us last year, and this terrific hat from Lynch Brothers, I tell you what, they're coming in handy today because, one, the hat's big enough to keep you dry and warm, and the coat is certainly nice on days like this. We do appreciate that. That's Olsen Brothers up in Spokane, Washington, and the Lynch Hat Works inside Olsen Brothers there. We do appreciate it. Anyway, friends, we have a great show for you today, and let me tell you what, we're going to review a Western-style gun today, and of course this Mossberg 590 is not maybe your standard Western. I don't believe I've ever seen this particular gun in a Western feature, although if they had them, they darn sure would have used them. In fact, the Winchester 97 is where a lot of this gun's heritage came from. Certainly the 97s had extended magazines, some were trench guns in World War I, and of course this today is the official U.S. military shotgun. We have a lot of things to cover on today's program, and we have some ideas that, hey, just may work. I have talked to people all week talking about the gun industry, on how the gun industry executives, so many of them, A, they're not shooters, and B, they're in denial. Recently, a lot of gun company officials went down to Washington and were there at the White House with Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, that is, and I can't believe it, but he is, and that's the way it is, okay. And some of these fellows, you know, they were all armed up there and shaking hands, and they don't get to go to the White House very often. Well, heck, I'm sure that impressed them, but they don't realize they were down there shaking hands with the enemy of us as gun owners. Now, wait a minute, friends. You can't put enough safety devices on these guns to make the anti-gun people happy. The only thing you could do that would possibly make the anti-gun people smile would be weld the barrel shut, cut them up. Now, they wouldn't mind that so much if they literally were cut up. Friends, it's not about safety. It's not about keeping the children safe, to quote Rush Limbaugh, the children, because this thing about child safety has been used. These people, so many of these anti-gun people, don't care about child safety. They don't care about anything but disarming us as gun owners. Now, that's the truth. And someone said the other day, said, well, Johnny, if you could just say something like, just say something nice, you don't have to say anything about the anti-gun people. Hey, friends, they're coming to take them away. Somebody has got to say the truth and tell the truth about what's happening. The anti-gun people in our society, unfortunately, the people that they use out here, the mentally retarded, ultra-liberal anti-gun types, the social types that I think are mentally retarded, they're being used by the people that are not mentally retarded. They're being used by some pretty doggone bright people, people that are willing to work hard to get their agenda in place. They want the New World Order. You've heard this thing about globalism. Right now, of all people who are repeating the lie about global warming, you realize over 80% of the climate scientists, people that actually know about the weather, know about the climate, say there is no global warming taking place, but the folks who want to socialize this country, they need this tax on us as Americans. They need to slow us down because they need the rest of the world to be able to catch up a little bit or bring us down to the level of the rest of the world. I say, what difference does it make? Let the rest of the world follow us by example. Right now, a real nice public service announcement, real pretty, that is a lie about global warming. You know who's putting that forth? The National Council of Churches. And you know, there have been some of these religions have come out against gun ownership. Well, you know what? If we lose our rights to the Second Amendment, you don't have to worry. We won't have a free press. We won't have freedom of religion. We won't have freedom of speech. It's not going to be there, friends. There are no guarantees. You know, a number of times in this country, armed citizens have risen to the point of making the government be a little more careful about what they do. You can go back in history. You can look at the Whiskey Rebellion. You can look at the Mormon confrontation out in Utah. They didn't beat the Mormons down. The U.S. Army did not beat the Mormons down. They came to some sort of agreement. Cochise, as far as I know, is the only Indian chief or tribe that ever fought the government of the United States to a halt. Cochise was never conquered. And of course, after Cochise's death, they went ahead and broke the treaty, all that. But at least as long as he was alive, he made the U.S. government behave. A number of other cases in Tennessee back in 1946. You had a corrupt government in a county there in Tennessee. Well, they went to the state, and the state wouldn't do anything about it. They went to the federal government. The federal government wouldn't do anything about it. They had, as I understand it, a sheriff and administration there that was blatantly corrupt, and they couldn't vote him out of office because they literally had such massive voter fraud there. So you know what? The citizens took it upon themselves to run this man out of town. And you know what? They could not have done it. They couldn't have done it if they had not retained their personal arms. You know, we had the great conflict of the mid-1800s, the War of Southern Rebellion, and we could talk for years on that and never settle that issue. But I'll tell you what, friends, we can never surrender our rights as United States citizens to own firearms because we're inviting a police state. Saw in the paper today where some little town, the mayor and the whole administration were arrested for corruption. Yes, dear. You'll recognize my lovely wife, Heather.
Wisconsin?
Yes, in fact, this is important. We got a newspaper clipping from some viewers in Wisconsin, and we do appreciate the letters and the newspaper clippings. We do appreciate that. This is from the Sunday Journal Sentinel. They're there in, let's see, where are they in Wisconsin? I don't know exactly.
I think it's Manitowoc.
Okay, Manitowoc, serving Manitowoc County since 1872. Gary Omernick, publisher. Okay, Gerald Guy, editor, and Russ Budditz, I believe, managing editor. And it's important to give those folks names there because they have an editorial entitled Our View. And their title there is their headline is Keep Gun Safety Out of Schools. It says here, the right to bear arms is protected by the U.S. Constitution, so is every American's right to public education. I appreciate them recognizing our right protected by the U.S. Constitution. However, the paper says that does not mean guns in schools make comfortable partners. It says if one Wisconsin lawmaker gets his way, though, Wisconsin school children will learn gun safety in between courses on reading and mathematics. Well, guess what, friends? The newspaper is against teaching gun safety in school. Why the heck not? You've got sex education, which, you know, it says here, we can teach them safe sex, we can teach them to drive safely. When we talk about guns, everybody goes nuts, this state legislator said. This is really kind of a no-brainer. You know, friends, he is so right. If you can teach anything, why not teach children about gun safety? You know why? You know why they don't want to do this? Because the anti-gun people that want to disarm us, they figure that by the schools teaching gun safety, that they would be saying that guns are okay in American society. That's what our founding fathers said. That's what they said, yet they feel like they'll be endorsing gun ownership if they teach gun safety. Someone here recently called the Eddie Eagle Gun Safety Program, which we like. It's a good program produced by the NRA and aimed at children from preschool to 6th grade. The essence of the Eddie Eagle message to children is to stay away from guns if there are no adults around. Anti-gun lobbyists, however, refer to Eddie Eagle as Joe Camel with feathers. You know what, friends, we've been talking about this for a while. The anti-tobacco Nazis are the same deal. See, they want to eradicate tobacco. They're saying we don't have a right to smoke, do whatever. So they're going to make us get rid in advertising and every means across the board, do away with tobacco, do away with a cartoon character, Joe Camel. That is, so, you know, friends, it's unbelievable. And so they don't want anything about guns. See, friends, these people are not concerned about gun safety. In fact, they like it when The anti-gun people are not displeased when people hurt themselves with guns, because that gives them more fodder for their propaganda machine, so they can come after them and take them away. See, they don't want gun safety. Friends, I tell you what, we're in a mess here. It didn't take us overnight to get in this mess. We're not going to get out of it overnight. We've got an idea. We have an idea that we think may be useful. You know what? We're always trying to get funding so we can stay on the air. We're trying, and we've been here. That's okay. We've been here. A little windy out here today. You say, yes, so these coats are needed. We're always looking for funding, and if you could help sponsor our show, if you have any kind of business, you could help sponsor our show. If you don't have maybe enough in your budget where you could spend a full minute commercial with us or a half-minute commercial, you can join our support group. Now listen at this. Here's an idea. This could help. You know, a lot of you out there have small businesses. You're paying taxes to the government. Now what happens when you pay your taxes to the government? One, they're going to throw a lot of it away, and then they're going to use part of it against us as gun owners.
That's right.
So, here's our idea. If you have an ice cream stand or a vitamin business, anything you can remotely call a business, you can take part of that tax money, you can deduct it, and you can spend it here with the Shooting Show project. You can help us stay on the air, and you can fight for your rights at the same time. Like I said, you give it to the government, you know what they're going to do with it. Well, who the heck knows? They may throw it away, give it give it to the United Nations. That's where it may go. They may give it to CDC in Atlanta, Center for Disease Control, where they can come back and say gun violence is a disease and lie about other stuff. Guess what? You can make a deduction. It's tax deductible. It's advertising. Hey, whether we sell any ice cream for you or not, who the heck cares? You can deduct it from your taxes. It won't go to the government, and maybe we can. Certainly, some of our sponsors have done really well with us on the program. So at least, though, you can keep from wasting your tax dollars. You can do something with them that is constructive, that can help us stay on the air. Friends, every nickel is important to us. Not every dollar, every $5, every nickel is important. Every $500. My gosh, there are people out there that have construction companies that pay hundreds of thousands of dollars taxes. Hey, they could spend $20,000 with us, just deduct it out for advertising, or $5,000, or $500, whatever you got. This is no lie, friends. We can make a difference. This is how. If you wonder how to stand up for your rights, this is one way, by helping us stay on the air. Friends, it's got to be done. And we're not going to give up, so please don't give up on us. We're darn sure going to try. As long as we have breath in our lungs, we're going to try and get our message out. We have to. Right now, we're losing the battle. But we can make a difference, friends. We can. And this television set is a tremendous way of doing it. If you can help us, please, please call us or write to us, The Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. Give us a call. Let's talk about it. Our phone number, 318-377-5189. Again, 318-377-5189. Call us and talk to us. This may be the greatest thing that we've come up with so far. You can charge it off, friends. If you have a flower shop, if you have a bread company, if you repair brake systems for cars, who cares? You can send some of that tax money where it will do some good, because you know what? A lot of organizations you give money to, you're not sure where the money goes. Don't know if some of those executives up there, oh friends, we don't have any executives, it's just us. If you can help, here we are, and we need your help. We have a great show for you today. So let's get started. I think I'll just start the program. We've got our repeating shotgun here. If Wyatt Earp would have had this, the fight at the OK Corral would not have lasted as long.
No, it wouldn't have.
So let's get another shooting show underway.
Stay tuned for more of The Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
You know, friends, all of us as shooting enthusiasts should be subscribing to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. 3 big issues monthly with literally thousands and thousands of firearms bargains. Give them a call, 1-800-345-6923, a very inexpensive subscription price. Again, 1-800-345-6923. Subscribe today.
Now, friends, you know that single-action revolvers are certainly one of the guns that I really enjoy, handguns I enjoy. And our good friends over at Clark Custom Guns were nice enough to loan us a gun for this week's program. This is the Vaquero, which is very similar to the Blackhawk, based on the Blackhawk Ruger single-action handgun. But this gun has an important difference in even the basic Vaquero. Notice this particular grip on here. It has a Bisley grip. Some people call them Biscaros or Visleys or whichever, but it makes a really nice combination. It has a different hammer. It has, of course, the grip is different. We'll look at that in just a few moments. But like I said, the good folks at Clark's made a special purchase on some of these Bisley gripped guns in .45 Colt. These are very desirable for cowboy action shooting for those folks who want to retain more of the flavor of the Old West. And I tell you what, we'll be shooting some Georgia Arms cowboy ammunition today. And I tell you what, friends, we had a couple loads we shot in this gun, and the Georgia Arms ammunition was by far the most accurate, which is standard for them. I tell you what, that they make absolutely superior. I don't see how they do it at the prices they sell it. First rate, first quality, custom grade ammunition at discount prices. But we really appreciate their assistance on this. Tremendous cowboy ammunition in .45 Colt. It's very mild shooting, but it'll certainly do a job on the targets that you want to shoot in cowboy action shooting. You might say this is a race gun of a different species maybe than a lot of the modified 1911s, which are meant to be used in the action shooting games. Well, that's really what this revolver is. Although whereas a lot of the race guns really are not reliable everyday carry guns, this in fact would be. This gun could be used for personal protection as a trail gun for home defense. And it does have the advantage, if you want to go on up in the .45 Colt loading, which is easy to do, you can load them on up pretty hot. It has the recoil absorbing grip. A lot of people feel like that the Bisley grip really absorbs recoil better than the standard grip. In fact, the first thing I do, if we have a Blackhawk here on the program or Super Blackhawk, first thing I do is change the grip. I have a Packmeyer grip on this 41 Magnum, this really terrific little Blackhawk here that you see on the program regularly. And it really makes all the difference. The standard grip is just not big enough for me to get my size large hand on. And whereas the Bisley grip, and again we'll look at this a little closer later, is longer, and you can get your entire hand on if you so desire, but it has a different angle. To me, it may be a little more natural pointing. And for the cowboy action shooting sport, you know, you can't have in the traditional class, you can't have adjustable sights. So the folks from Ruger came along and they made what looks like an 1873 model Peacemaker Colt with the Bisley grip frame. What you have is a modern steel, super accurate, super strong Ruger revolver that has the looks of the Old West. And let me say something about the single actions. They do. That's one of the things, just like my wife can shoot this Blackhawk with the full house, near 1,000 foot-pounds of muzzle energy loads that we have for this gun, and it doesn't hurt her hand because it rolls up in recoil. And let me mention our 41 Magnum Defense Special Load. If some of you out there have a 41 Magnum, yet with the ammunition that you have for it, it is too much or it hurts your hand or you can't control it, all you need to do is call Georgia Arms and get some of their 41 Magnum Defense Special Load. This makes a lot more sense. You've got tremendous power, but it's easier to shoot. Much easier to shoot than a standard full charge 41 Magnum loading. So absolutely, a tremendous idea from the good folks there at Georgia Arms, and really have opened up the 41 Magnum caliber to those of us. And you know, I like the 41 caliber. I think it's so good. Really an option that we're very pleased to announce is available to you. Call Georgia Arms. Their 800 number is 1-800-624-6861 if you'd like to have one of the free catalogs. But if you have a 41 Magnum and you want some real strong ammunition that is not going to hurt your hand when you shoot your Smith & Wesson or whatever else, well, certainly let us recommend that. We're in on the development of this load. 170 grain bullet, tremendous power. It's easy to shoot, though much easier to shoot than the full charge 41 Magnum. So let's get a couple of the Georgia Arms cowboy loads out here and find our hole in our plastic bag. Here we go. I didn't make it big enough, I suppose. This ammunition from Georgia Arms, the cowboy action ammunition, is good for a handgun or for a rifle. It is the proper velocity. A lot of you know that the cowboy action shooting game has a velocity limit that you have to go along with for your rifle and for your handgun. And there's a reason for it. Certainly safety, and they don't want to tear up their targets. Well, this certainly will give you all kinds of thump in the 45 Colt grand old caliber. And watch this Viscero in my hands. It just almost has no recoil at all. 45 Colt shooting the Georgia Arms ammunition. So you can rapid fire the hammers down there low, just almost no recoil to speak of. But still, friends, that's a 250 some odd grain bullet running along there at a pretty good clip. Yeah, 250. So it's no joke. You certainly get the sensation of shooting a big caliber handgun, but it's easy to shoot rapidly and well. Go ahead and unload. Which
is there any difference between the strength of the Vaquero in comparison to the Black Hawk?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I have heard that question before. Don't you want to hold all those empty?
Sure will.
Yeah, we definitely save
cartridges.
Oh, absolutely. Well, in the regular Black Hawk and the Vaquero, there's really not a difference in strength. It's a different shape, frame, but you know, Ruger typically over-engineers their stuff anyway. Typically, the Ruger products are not a little bit stronger than they need be, but a whole lot stronger. And even though the top strap is certainly thinner than on the standard Black Hawk, no, you don't have to worry about strength. The Vaquero is a super strong gun. So it really, and I've got to give that to Ruger. They have the whole time they've overbuilt their stuff. Sort of like I classify like the Red Hawk or Super Red Hawk is the Caterpillar of handguns or whatever their guns are. I'm not that fond of everything Ruger makes, but all their stuff, one thing you got to say for them, they're all strong. They certainly are. So
why would anyone want the old style Colt sights? Well,
good question. Another good question. The old style sights, to be in a certain class in the cowboy action shooting game, it has traditional fixed sights. So what they did, they just went back and they copied the old Colt style to make them look as authentic as possible. See, Colt firearms are still selling single action armies at around $1,000 a piece. That's a lot. I can't believe that. $1,000 for, you know, it seems like they've gotten the price down, but now that's okay. And the Italians, the Ubertis, which are pretty nice guns actually, the Ubertis, the Cimarrons, EMF makes a pretty nice single action. They're all pretty nice guns, and they have sold a ton of them. So Ruger says, wait a minute, they build better single action than anybody. And Freedom Arms accepted, and really the Freedom Arms are nice guns, but they're so expensive they don't qualify for most of what we're talking about here. They may have one I'm not aware of. But they said, you know, we build as good a gun as anybody. Why not take advantage of the cowboy action shooting game, because literally thousands of shooters, and you know what? You don't need one of these. You need two.
That's right.
You need two. And we do appreciate the good folks at Clark Custom Guns. They have a special purchase. They've got several of these in stock. 5.5-inch barrel, the Vaquero with the Bisley grip, and they're selling these $375. Now, I've seen retail on these guns as high as $450, and Clark's has them. If you're preparing for cowboy action shooting next summer, you might call Clark's, because they've got a fair number of these.
They have a pair with consecutive serial numbers.
Yes, in fact. Yes, they do. Clark's has one pair of Biscaros, Bisley grip Vaqueros, with consecutive serial numbers. And to some of those collectors out there, that will be an important feature.
That's right.
Because you can't find that. And you can buy a pair, including first come, first serve on that pair of consecutive serial numbers, but they'll sell a pair for $700. Hey, heck, you know, there are semi-automatics that cost $700, and you can have 2 real guns. That's okay for you semi-automatic fans. That's all right. That's all right. I like them too. But let's just say you can have a couple of really good single actions for $700. This gun, the individual guns, are $375 from Clark Custom Guns. And let me give you that number. If you want to call and reserve your Biscaro or Bisley Grip Vaquero in 45 Colt, you can do that by calling area 318-949-9884. Again, 318-949-9884. That's Clark Custom Guns, and they will reserve one for you. If you want a pair, it's $700, and first come, first serve on the consecutive serial number guns. But in fact, you know, when we keep talking about the Bisley Grip versus standard Blackhawk, why don't we take an up-close look and see just in fact what the differences are.
Good idea.
Now, friends, we took our grip off our standard Blackhawk, and you see when I put my hand on the standard Blackhawk, my little finger, I can only get 2 fingers here on the grip, like so, and that's why I put the bigger Pikemeyer grip on the guns for size. Now here's the difference. Look at the Bisley grip. See, it is quite a bit longer than the Vaquero, than the Blackhawk grip there. See, you've got quite a bit more surface. It also comes down at a steeper angle, and is probably going to make the gun point a little more naturally with your hand, probably so. That may really be an advantage to certain types of shooting, for speed shooting, all because the grip is going to be, again, more like, see my band-aid here, more pointed, parallel. That trigger finger is going to be more parallel with that barrel where the front sight is. And by the way, we're out here and it's still raining just a little bit, but you know, I treated these guns with fluid film, and really we just flatly don't have to worry about them rusting. I mean, we just forget it. And of course, now this gun will be for sale over at Clark's. Its serial number is, the last 4 digits are 4718. If you'd like to have this gun, because just in our test here is the only time it's been shot. It's brand new in the box. You'll notice the difference in the finish on the frame here. I call this the Appaloosa model of the Ruger handgun, the Vaquero. See, the standard frame is either going to be stainless or blued like this Blackhawk here. This is a special finish. Now, the only thing that I have noticed, it's a little bit delicate as far as durability. Of course, again, fluid film to the rescue. That will keep the keep this finish from rusting or coming off, whatever else. It is not a color case hardened. It is a simulated color case hardening like the old Colts were. Again, a tribute to authenticity that is, of the old style guns. But you can see there's quite a bit of difference in the way that frame is set. The Blackhawk frame has regular screws put in place up above the grip, whereas the Bisley grip is set in place with Allen screws, which I really like. I think that's a better deal. The Allen screws are a better deal. And notice how it comes up quite a bit higher toward the hammer. Another advantage that I see is the hammer on the Bisley type guns is more within your reach for cocking if you shoot the traditional shootist type drill in cowboy action shooting. Your thumb, your grip doesn't have to move off the gun to recock, whereas on the standard Blackhawk, so your hammer is way up here. So some of us will actually alter our grip to recock the Black Hawk. See, it's much higher. And again, the Bisley would seem to me like it's just a lot easier to cock with one hand. Easier to get to that hammer spur.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Now, friends, here it is, a bag full of the great Georgia Arms ammunition. Whether you have a handgun or a rifle, Georgia Arms consistently makes the most accurate, most affordable ammunition that money can buy. They're also some of the nicest people we've ever had the pleasure to meet in this business. If you'd like one of our new 41 Magnum combat loads, the personal defense or the defense special load from Georgia Arms in cooperation with us, give them a call, or any of their other tremendous rifle or handgun ammunition. They have a fantastic selection, including a wide selection of the cowboy action shooting ammo. They also make the best selection, to my knowledge, of the 45 Winchester Magnum, also the 45 Auto Rim. It's the only factory offering, I think, made today. Give them a call, get a free catalog, 1-800-624-6861. Again, Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861. Get a free catalog, and please tell them you saw it here on our shooting show. Now, friends, you can see these are really nicely done. If I can get our focus straight here. You can see why I call it the Appaloosa version of the Ruger single action, but this is certainly a historically proper finish for these guns. But we've loaded with some of this great, in fact, let's let you look at one. Great Georgia Arms 45 Colt cowboy load there. The 250 grain bullet is really a really neat combination. Let's go ahead and load our, we've got 6 of them in there. Got our target out here at so many yards. Let's see how it does. Notice how that little front sight looks like a needle down there, but let's see what it'll do. Notice it's easy to reach up and grab that hammer. I believe that's 6. Let's ease up and look at our target. Now, friends, I tell you what, that's 4 in one large hole and 2 shortly away. I promise you that Georgia Arms ammunition will shoot. And bear in mind that my hands are cold out here today. I'm shivering trying to shoot these things. And I think that's excellent performance from our Ruger single action. Also from the great Georgia Arms ammunition. You see, those sights are in pretty good shape there as far as the adjustment goes right out of the box. Well, friends, we hope you're enjoying our program. You'll recognize this fine gentleman here, Leroy Scott, the good judge on the shooting show. The good judge. We got some that aren't out there, unfortunately, around the country, but we have one that is. Let me tell you what, we are very pleased to be here. We have some things we're going to be talking about in just a moment, which I think is going to help our project. But we were reading, as we did on the first part of today's program, this article from this newspaper in Wisconsin, the Herald Times reporter, and their view in their editorial page there is keep gun safety out of schools. Judge, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's absurd.
It absolutely is, isn't it?
They don't want to teach gun safety at all. I suspect because it goes against their anti-gun feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they are calling this thing Joe Camel with feathers.
So the Eddie Eagle program, which is a real good program that the NRA has. The NRA does a lot of things that we may or may not agree with, but this is one of them that's real good. Don't you think so, sir?
Well, I think it's a fine program. Yes, of course it is.
And as we have said before, these people are not really interested in children's safety. They're not interested in saving lives. They're interested in taking guns away, aren't they, Judge?
That's the message I get out of it. It's funny to me that the schools teach freedom of speech, they teach freedom of the press, they teach freedom of religion, but they can't talk about gun rights. And that's embedded in the Constitution the same way. There's nothing embedded in the Constitution about the right to smoke.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is just, again, it's chiseling away at gun rights so that more people will be killed, and therefore they can raise this spectra of guns being dangerous.
Well, you know what, Judge? Remember what the definition of a brand new conservative or a brand new pro-gun person is, liberal that got mugged last night?
That's right. That's right.
Well, you know, Sarah Brady, I'll bet you if she was being held down by several perpetrators and brutalized, and somebody on the side slid a handgun over to bumped her in the ribs and she could grab that handgun, I don't think there's any question she'd use it. Do you?
No, I don't think there's any question she'd use it. That might be just, well, never mind.
Well, it's so true. These liberals, see, are so, the socialist, anti-gun people, see, a lot of these folks have bodyguards. They have people security for days that you and I, Leroy Scott, do not have. And we can't afford, and you know, Judge, I don't believe I want anybody following me around day in and day out. Would you?
Well, preferably no. What's the, who was that writer that had a gun illegally in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, that's right, Carl Rowan. Rowan.
Yeah, Carl Rowan. He was against guns and talked and wrote about them and wrote against them, but nevertheless he had one.
Isn't that amazing? He had one, which he defended his home with, if I remember correctly.
That's what he claimed he did.
What he claimed, and he was the liberal socialist type, and I don't think he was charged with a crime, was he?
He wasn't. He wasn't. They dropped it.
See, the law doesn't apply equally to the inside crowd. The inside media people doesn't apply equally. And as we talked about, you know, friends, a number of times in over the course of our history, we have had citizens that stood up against the government and argued points, and you know, one of which, you know, people that absolutely refused to give in to the government. Cochise is the only Indian that I'm aware of that actually was not defeated or not conquered by the U.S. military. What about the Mormons out there in Utah? They weren't defeated either. They came to kind of a draw, didn't they, with the U.S. Army?
Well, I don't know anything about the Mormons with U.S. Army, but the Mormons ran up the white flag on polygamy.
Well, well, that's that's not our subject matter today. But you know, there was a time when the Mormons got in a pretty good spitting contest with the U.S. Army back in the 1800s. And doggone it, they stood up for their rights and they held their ground. There have been a number of times. Example, in 1946 in Tennessee, when the the county was devastated by a corrupt sheriff and a corrupt administration. They couldn't vote him out. They had such massive voter fraud. They went to the state government for help, couldn't get any help. Went to the federal government for help, couldn't get any help. So guess what they did? And I believe this was in Athens, Tennessee. So I stand to be corrected. I believe it's Athens. The townspeople rose up and they ran the sheriff out of town. And they didn't go down there with slingshots. You know what I'm saying? They didn't go with and they took back their local government. There are many instances. What's even more important than this was the fact that 2.5 to 3.5 million times per year, firearms are used in self-defense by American citizens, and most of the time, almost all the time, the gun's never fired, and crime is stopped. You know, the American people, pretty big police force, huh, Judge?
They're a darn fine police force.
And see, friends, that's what this is about. The liberal, socialist, anti-gun types cannot get it through their thick skulls or their thicker egos or whatever it is to leave us as conservatives alone. So, you know what we have to do? We have to fight back. We have to defeat them. What?
Well, it may be their thick competing agenda.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it's a competing agenda that drives them.
I would certainly agree. And they just can't leave well enough alone. They can't. So, you know, right now we got Hillary wanting to take over raising our children. Raising the children, going to have state-sponsored, state-run child care where there's not a national child care crisis. It's not.
Well, I'd like to know where in the Constitution it says that Hillary or anybody else in the federal government has any authority over children.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, you're looking at a 1919 Browning machine gun that's no longer a machine gun. It's now a semi-automatic rifle, although it's still belt-fed. These guns will not be available forever, but now they are available through our good friends at NWI. They're also affordably priced. If I wanted one of these at any time in the future, I would not put it off, because trust me, they will not be available forever. They'll even help you break up your payments so you can afford it more easily. NWI is also offering this gun in the 50 Browning version, which talk about your fun gun. These are pieces of real American history, and friends, trust me, they will not be available forever. NWI also has some ammunition specials so you can actually go out and enjoy shooting your converted machine guns. Again, they're semi-automatic now. They're 100% legal wherever you can own a semi-automatic rifle. Give them a call today, friends. Area 503-429-5001. The good people at NWI. Again, area 503-429-5001. And please tell them that you saw it here on our shooting show. Friends, we have got to get back to constitutional government. And one way that you can stand up for your rights and to fight back is by supporting our project. Now, Judge, you and I were talking about something here just the last few days, and friends, this is something that could work, because we not only have to stay on the air, we need to expand our program about gun rights and what they're for. You know, Judge, I heard the other day somebody through the grapevine, somebody termed me and you as radicals. Well, you know, that's what they said. Well, I guess that wanting to be free and wanting to be secure in our homes and wanting to be left alone, what's radical about that?
I don't think that's radical, and it reminds me of the comment that Barry Goldwater made that the nominating convention when he said that extremism in the pursuit of liberty is no vice. Moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue.
Well, you know, friends, our founding fathers, and we're descendants. All of us are descendants of our founding fathers. Have built the greatest country in recorded history. What's radical about wanting to be left alone? What's radical about wanting to enjoy the fruits of your labors and not shipping off your money to people hundreds or thousands of miles away that don't care about our welfare, don't care about you and I or whatever else? What's radical about that? What's radical about just wanting to be left alone? I don't understand yet in our modern politically correct climate. What's radical about my wife or your wife or any of the ladies out there being able to defend themselves against being brutalized or attacked? What's radical about that?
Well, Johnny, there are thousands of businesses that go broke every year, and the government doesn't come in and try to subsidize them, but when some banks in Japan are in trouble, then there's a massive move to subsidize them. Now, I don't understand subsidizing banks in Japan as opposed to subsidizing people or businesses in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that some of the international bankers have involvements with those banks.
Mm-hmm. The power structure, the New World Order people, is that what we're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Friends, if you want to make your strike against the New World Order, we may have a little plan to fight fire with fire here, to use, and we're talking about a battle of money here, a battle of money. Us with a minuscule budget, but we do have a far reach. And the views that we're talking are most of your views out there watching. We know because we hear from you. We know. We know that you're in agreement. We know that our message must be spread. We've got an idea. If you have an ice cream stand or a home vitamin business, anything that you can class as a commercial enterprise, if you have a hair cutting salon, if you have a steel mill, if you have a boat building business, if you have a shrimp boat, doesn't matter. You know what?
Or if you're a doctor or a lawyer.
If you're a doctor or a lawyer.
Or an engineer.
You know what you can do? You're probably paying taxes to the federal government. Guess what? Advertising is tax deductible. In almost all known phases, it's tax deductible. Guess what? You can take part of that money that you're sending to the federal government. One, they're either going to throw it away, or two, they're going to use it against us, just like shipping money to the Center for Disease Control to use against us as gun owners. So many of the things that the federal government is doing to discourage gun ownership in this country, they're using the money to cut up artifacts and antiques in the U.S. military museums. All this stuff they're using that money for. They're using money to pay more bureaucrats in the federal government. Guess what? You can take part of that money that you're going to send to Washington to absolutely give the enemies of our freedom, to give the enemies of us as gun ownership. Guess what you can do with it? You can advertise with the shooting show. You can get in our support group. And honestly, if you make some of these businesses, some of you are paying $5,000 a year in taxes. Some of you are paying $50,000 a year for your business in taxes. Hey, you can give part of it to us. You can advertise with us any amount you want. Any amount you can take away from the federal government. What do you think, Judge?
Well, I think that's a good idea. On top of that, I noticed at the Southern Poverty Law Center, that's the
Morris Dees.
Mm-hmm. Who is our avowed
enemy.
Well, you're the one that said it.
I said enemy of freedom, enemy of gun owners.
That's
enemy
right.
Of gun owners.
And I noticed he was here in Shreveport talking yesterday. I don't know what he talked about, but I can guarantee you this: it wasn't anything that is supportive of us.
You know, friends, so many of these foundations and things get all kinds of government breaks. Here's a way where it won't cost you as a business person anything. In fact, it will help our project stay on the air. Now, we don't have a bureaucracy in the shooting show outfit. We don't have a bureaucracy. It's him and me, and my mother and my wife is helping now some, certainly. And we have our editor here in the studio, Jim. If you'd like to come forward and take a bow, you can. But that's it. That's it. I mean, that's all. That's all the people there are. It's just us. And people wonder, well, what can the individual do? Well, this has been about as small a number of individual efforts. And, you know, this show will start our 8th year on the air nationally. Friends, if you can advertise, just deduct it from talk to your accountant. So, like I said, ice cream stand, flower shop, bread company, taxi cab company, I don't care. Makes no difference. What?
That's the message for today.
Really is.
But there was something else I wanted to say, and now I can't remember what it was.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, excuse me. Well, friends, if you can, please contribute whatever you can to keeping us on the air, because that's why we're here. And we appreciate our fine sponsors, the people that buy full-size advertisements, because them and you have kept us here. That's the only reason we're here today. So you can send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code is 71024. If you'd like to call us and talk to us about our phone number, 318-377-5189. Again, 318-377-5189. Listen, let's do it, friends. Look, this fight's not over. If you're watching us today, that means the fight's not over. That absolutely means it is not over with. And, you know, our opponents would like us to feel abandoned. They'd like us to feel out of sync with society. Hey, friends, it's not us. It's them. They just control the media. They control the airwaves. They control a massive amount of print material. Hey, guess what? They can be beaten. My gosh, there's just a few of us here, and look what we've done with this program over these years. Just almost nobody, but here we are. A few individuals, a few of us can make such a huge difference, sir.
I don't guess I have anything further to say, Johnny, today.
Well, today. Well, friends, hang in there with us. We're not going to give up on you. Please don't give up on us. Friends, you know, I want to mention our support group because this is a very important group, and I do want to remind you, if you like one of the Clark Custom Guns Biscaros, the Vaquero with the Bisley grip, please give them a call. Remember that gun we had on the program today, and they have several more like it, are priced at $375. If you want a pair of them, they'll sell you a pair for $700, so you get a savings. And I've seen these guns retail for up to $450, so this is a real savings. Also, they're not someplace in the country. They're very, very difficult to come by, very hard to find. So remember that they have one pair that has consecutive serial numbers, so you can call Clark Custom Guns at area 318-949-9884. Again, 318-949-9884. And we do want to congratulate our viewer up in Michigan, actually, who bought the Red Hawk we had on last week's program. And we've had some requests of some of the guns. Of course, most of the stuff we have on the show is barred anyway. And we may start making available, tell you if you'd like to have the gun that was featured on the show. And you certainly, the stuff that we borrow, from Clark Custom Guns, well, you can order it for yourself if you'd like to. So anyway, we also want to recognize Custom Leatherwork and Saddlery, all kinds of leather work in Denham Springs, Louisiana. They do repairs on linemen's boots, things like that that you can't find everywhere. You can give them a call, area 504-667-9225. Again, area 504-667-9225. Also, our friend James Calhoun with Calhoun Bullets. He makes custom level 22 and 17 caliber bullets for varmint hunting. Certainly, if you'd like information on his product line, you can call him at area 406-395-4079. Again, area 406-395-4079. And our friend Dennis Crocker in South Carolina, he is a certified firearms trainer. He's authorized to go throughout South Carolina. He teaches courses in safety, basic pistol protection, and concealed carry. And you can call him at area 864 864-587-8722. Again, 864-587-8722. If you're looking for Spyderco or cold steel knives at discount prices, you can call our friends at Advantage Outlet, 1-800-561-1719. Again, 1-800-561-1719. And if you want to shoot some sporting clays around Bourbon, Indiana, you can call Larry and Karen Meister. They have back 40 sporting clays, and that number is area 219-342-4665. Again, area 219-342-4665. And we also want to mention our good friends there in Alabama with Flying Horse Enterprises, and they have a tremendous selection of art. You can find them on the internet, or you can give them a call at 1-888-340-0664. Again, Flying Horse, 1-888-FREE-CALL, 340-0664. And we really do appreciate our support group. Friends, remember our gospel show on, in fact, I also want to mention, Jim's holding up our can. This fluid film, friends, it is terrific stuff in a class by itself, trying to get everything in here. Trust me, we get a little something off our sales on it. Of course, this is a small can, but we're selling 2 of the 11 3/4 ounce cans for only $19.95. That includes everything. We appreciate our friend Bill Lewis and his efforts to help our project through fluid film. Friends, it's in a class by itself. You can use it on your guns, on boots, on leather, anything. It is tremendous stuff. You can send to the shooting show, of course, our standard address, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. That zip code 71024. And we hope, and hopefully we were on the air earlier today on the American Freedom Network, but they're back up, and they are on GE1 Channel 7 5.8 audio, and for their product list you can call them 1-800-205-6245. Again, 1-800-205-6245. And remember our gospel show on Sunday morning. We think that's a very important program. You can see the gospel show on G4 Channel 14 on satellite on Sunday morning from 10 until 10:30 Eastern Time. So, friends, we've run out of time on today's show. Thanks again to our support group and all our sponsors and all of you for watching. We look forward to seeing you on the next show.